In this video, we're going to talk about the game-changing update that Dehancer Pro just came out with. And near the end, we're also going to talk about why I think it's the best tool and almost essential for most creators. Hey everyone, it's Aaron here, and I'm a filmmaker that tries to give you tips and tricks that make your editing and shooting more enjoyable and easier. If that sounds good, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. The next video that we're gonna do is about photo editing, actually, and some ways to make it more enjoyable and more fun, especially for someone like me who more so enjoys the video editing process, but also enjoys some photo. And if you stick to the end, like I said, we'll talk about why I think this Dehancer Pro update is so good, and why Dehancer in general is so good for creators. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move over to this desktop here. So, well, you're gonna stay there. I'm gonna go over here. You're gonna see me from this angle, but you're also gonna see my screen. You know what? You'll get it. You'll figure it out. Okay, so we're gonna jump into a project that I've actually already color graded and everything, but I'm gonna revisit it with these new tools and just kind of show you how cool it is. So what you'll see here is I already have a basic node structure and I already have some adjustments that I usually make. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop this beta on and show you the process here. Okay, now we activated it, we're good. So here's one thing, Dehancer, if you're watching this, I would love if you didn't have any settings on when we first started. I know the film grain defaults, and actually y'all did change where, oh, I haven't downloaded any of the profiles yet. Hold please again. Like I was saying, and then it also defaults to 250D. I'd prefer none of these were there. I want to at least get my base layer going. So, hey y'all, editor Aaron here. I didn't realize that the drop downs were not appearing while recording on OBS. I must have messed something up with an OBS setting. So I'm gonna have screenshots of what those drop downs do look like all here. You can take a look at that, and then we'll just continue on. It really shouldn't mess up the rest of this video, but if you were curious to what all was included, because I don't touch every preset, here you are. This was shot with XH2S F-Log, not F-Log 2, sorry, it was just regular F-Log. Boom. Looks, I mean, fantastic already. However, these are my money settings. So don't look. About to show you all that sauce. There you go. That looks great already, as is. It does look a little different than what it did before. I'm gonna go ahead and pull down the highlights just a smidge. Okay. That's basic stuff. Nothing really changed there. However, one thing that did change that I'm really excited about are these tools that can be daunting and confusing. And one thing that I like about Dehancer is it makes color grading easy, and you can get such cool, unique, like here's regular Rec 709, and then boom, here's like a cool film look. Anyway, there's so many looks in here. I'm not even gonna touch that right now. If y'all are super interested, then maybe we can like talk about some other options later. I do have a live stream that you can go back to. I'll actually have that linked up where I did talk through some other options. So yeah, we're not going to touch that right now. We are going to talk about these new features. I love them. Okay, I'm a huge fan of film grain. I add it on everything to some degree without fail. And so boom, you click that and you're like on track for a 35mm look. And so I really, when I emulate film, when I use film grain, I really enjoy making it look as close to film and use film theory as much as possible. And so with this, I can say, you know, without having to guess, I can say I would like to do like a 50 speed film because this is well lit. It's not gonna be a fast film and it's gonna be less grainy, which is awesome. And It's a really cool, unique way to do that. And so let's copy this over to this one. Same thing. We're able to say, you know, we want a fast speed film. Now, we're going to pretend here, because this was all daylight, a unique wedding that was, you know, early in the day. But let's pretend this shot, let's do one that's at least somewhat believable. Let's pretend this shot was dark and this is like lit artificially. And we really want to emulate that. First, this is going to bother me. Let's just color balance this a little bit better. Let's also get that exposure better. All right, cool. Now we're able to, with our film, say, you know, this was a 500 speed film. That did work. So if you go from 50, you see less grain. I don't know how this is going to come across YouTube, but you see less grain. Now, boom. Now you see more. What this was before was guesswork for me. I never really knew. It looked like this. I never really knew how it was supposed to look. And I would actually pull in some real film stills and kind of compare it. But this makes it so easy now where I just say I want a 500 speed film. Boom. Let's say we wanted to emulate Super 8. And so we can throw on a, let's color balance it. We can throw a like overlay on it, make it look Super 8. Hopefully it's kind of shaky to emulate that. Well, now we can say it's 8mm 50. This is so cool, y'all. It even adds some blur to it like Super 8. If you've shot real Super 8, you know it's not sharp at all. It looks great, but it's not sharp, and this looks really accurate. We'll go full screen to just kind of show you. This looks really good. What they're basically doing here is they're taking the film resolution and adjusting that. This is a beta, and it just crashed, but it's a beta. That's what betas are for, you know? So, Dehancer beta. Okay, so minor hiccup. We had to go to a different project, actually, to resolve this. Resolve. Get it, because DaVinci Resolve. You know what? Moving on. So, what we were talking about, film grain. Awesome. Love it. Let's say we're going to emulate that this isn't 500 because we are in a room kind of dark. Actually it wasn't, but we're going to pretend there was big windows on that side. So the next thing that is really cool is halation was always confusing to me, or not confusing. I just never knew if I was nailing it. And this is so easy. There was so many stuff where obviously like no rips, that's a little extra. But with the mask mode, we're able to see how it looks. And then if we are going back to that Super 8 look, then I shoot Super 8. That's a little extreme, I will say. But I mean, you have presets now. They're presets, people. Presets make life easier. Love that. And then let's say with Bloom, we want to, again, emulate that Super 35 look. And that Bloom is pretty subtle. It's probably like a quarter. It's not super subtle. But if you really wanted to go subtle, then that right there is pretty subtle. And now film damage, which is really cool because if you watch a movie on film, there is some dust and stuff and scratches every now and then. And so how cool is this that this is going to be slow, I can guarantee it. But if you can't see, if you just go through these frames, then you can kind of see some dust and it's not overbearing. And what I read is it's unique. It's consistently unique, which is really cool, just like film would be. And then film breath and gate weave, I don't really mess with that too much, but how cool is it that we now have presets for this? And so, yeah, we won't touch on that too much. I'm just stoked that we now have presets. Film damage, you could go custom, and this is all new. You can talk about how much dust, how much hair, how many scratches. And then you can adjust the total, which is great. Super cool. Bloom, if you aren't familiar, this is also kind of confusing. I've kind of learned it, but I'm I'm just excited to click presets and really nail it. So like I said, if you stick to the end, I will tell you why I think this is the perfect tool for most creators out there. And the main reason is most of us are not professional colorists. I would argue that if you are the one shooting your footage and cutting it and mixing it, then you're not a professional colorist. And we don't have the time that professional colorists have. Usually they're focusing on coloring a project and that's it. And so what this tool does is it gives us access to all kinds of looks without us really needing the knowledge to tap into what does this film stock look like and how can I emulate this film print emulation. Emulate a film print emulation. That's, I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but yeah, I just think it's a really cool tool that we can use. There's nothing wrong with using plugins to color grade, and then film grain built in, halation, all of that built in. I do like using the color wheels and tools within DaVinci Resolve, but then this is kind of a finishing piece. It also is great for converting and just a finishing piece to add a little extra flair and make it look a little more unique. I have barely touched LUTs ever since using Dehancer. It really does act as LUTs for me in a way where I can use tons of different looks, and really to me they're even more accurate because they understand the color science of F-Log and F-Log 2. And so it's a really cool tool that I'm just stoked to now have some presets, because what is already a time saver is now going to be a time saver and also help you be a little more accurate and calculated with the look that you're trying to emulate. Instead of just pulling a slider, guessing about how much grain or how much the footage would halate, you now have the access to some presets that really tell you that. And so, yeah, I'm stoked. Thank you, Dehancer, for constantly improving your product. And yeah, I don't have an affiliate link, but Dehancer, hit me up. I've been using your product for a while. But anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. Can I say peace? Is that MKBHD's thing?